I actually have a great warm up. I'm going to take the lead on this one. You can just sit back. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
How does Harry Potter get rid of a rash?
How does Harry Potter get rid of a rash?
Let me just cut to the chase and tell you, with quit itch. How many Slytherins does it take to stir a cauldron?
I don't know how many.
Just one. She puts her wand in and the cauldron revolves around her.
Please give me more.
Why does Voldemort prefer Twitter over Facebook?
I don't know. Why?
Because he has only followers, not friends. I don't really get that one. Oh, wait.
Because you have... Come on.
Because he's so evil. No one's his friend. If a wizard gets robbed by a muggle, has he been mugged?
I love the look in your face for that one. The smug expression. Gotcha.
I have a few more. Clever, isn't it? What do you call an electrocuted Dark Lord?
I don't know.
The spelling really matters on this one. A Voldemort. Why is Mad-Eye Moody such a bad professor?
I don't know. Why?
Because he can't control his pupils. I don't know who that is yet.
You can't look these jokes up because they're going to give you spoilers.
I knew you would say that. I took a couple screenshots and then I just have two more. I stopped looking because I don't want any spoilers. Okay, last one. Are you a Dementor? You just took my breath away.
You don't even get that. And you're laughing. Oh, it's such a good one. That was the best one.
Love it. Yeah, I don't get some of those, but
I love that you told that joke and you gave the punchline and you started laughing and you have no idea what the joke's about.
Because I'm sure it's terrible. I know I don't get it yet, but it's a good one. You Potter people. If you just Google Harry Potter jokes.
Oh, there's so many of them.
Well, this is from a website called Scary Mommy. I took a few screenshots and then I got off. I don't want any spoilers.
Yeah, you need to stay spoiler free for this whole thing.
Yes, I'm trying. You have expressly forbidden me from reading anybody's comments online.
Yep.
Not a part of your Reddit group. I actually found your Reddit group and then I tried to block it so it wouldn't even pop up when I'm trolling Reddit. So
you're going to show up in a troll on our subreddit and you're just going to start trolling people on our subreddit.
No, I'm really staying away from Reddit because then I'm sure I would just hear things I don't need to be hearing.
Yeah.
So I'm not engaging with, I don't want to engage with Potter at all on Reddit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so you don't want to, and we don't want you to do that for different reasons. You don't want to do it because you don't want to become more of a nerd. I don't want to do that. I don't want you to do that for spoilers.
That's what I mean. I don't want spoilers.
Yeah, although here, I'm going to read this one little Reddit. The title, Justice for Animal Crossing.
Oh, yes. I love this already.
It's a sentence. I'm listening to the most recent episode and I want to make sure that Abbie knows she is not alone in her Animal Crossing obsession. There may just be one other in this subreddit, but there is one other.
Yes. And united. And me and that person are united.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you to that person. I knew it's not possible for like no one here is a plays Animal Crossing. Come on, guys.
We're all just Potterheads. We're all Potter nerds. We don't care about Animal Crossing except for one. That's why I feel like this guy.
Does the nerddom not bleed over into other things? Like that's one thing I can relate to.
It does, but Animal Crossing isn't a big nerd level crossover.
You're telling me. Because Animal Crossing is cool.
No, you're wrong about that. I feel like Animal Crossing is, I don't know if I'm wrong about this, but it's very much like a girl's game. I don't know a ton of guys who play Animal Crossing.
I do. Okay. I think I would actually ask a more general question of who here just has a Nintendo Switch. That's something we can find common ground on.
But
do you have a Switch?
No, but my nephews have one, and I want to get one just so I can play Super Smash Brothers with them.
My gosh, you should. And then you should also get Mario Party. That's another phase I'm in.
Mario Party or Mario Kart?
Mario Party.
Oh, okay.
It's so fun. And you can play with just the computer, which is kind of boring, or you can play with friends.
Yeah.
I play with my sister a lot. Yeah, that's another game I'm into.
But tell us, how are turnip prices today?
Well, my sister and I play off of each other's islands. And so we both track our sell prices and buy prices each week. And so the good news is that she is going to have a high spike tomorrow. So we will both be selling on her island tomorrow. Thank you for asking. I'm declining this week, but my sister is tracking to have a high spike. So thank you so much.
Is this like the fake stock market with just one stock, turnips?
It's the stalk. STALK, the stalk
market. Way. Do they actually call it the stalk market?
Absolutely they do, because that's what it is. When my sister and I check the prices each week, we call it our investing. We have to check our investments. And then we text each other updates.
You call me a nerd. You guys are looking up prices for turnips on this game.
Yeah. Somebody figured out all the algorithms of like, there's like a range of what you can buy them for each week. You can buy them on Sundays, and then you can sell them throughout the week. And so there's only so many algorithms. So someone figured it out, and there's a chart you can do online. So we just track it each week with this chart online. And that's when we text each other, like, who's tracking to have a high spike or whatever.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible.
Do you know what the currency is called on Animal Crossing?
Something cheesy. What is it?
Bells.
Bells?
Yeah.
Why is it called bells?
I don't know. Why is Harry Potter a wizard? It's just a chosen thing. Bells. So
I don't know if there's a comparison there.
Guess how many? Well, it's just what someone created. So guess how many bells I have in my bank account?
100,000.
34 million.
34 million. You're a 34 millionaire, a multi-millionaire on Animal Crossing.
I just said that because that just shows how long I've been playing the game. Check that out. I'm a billionaire. My sister and I are a billionaire.
Do they call it a billionaire? Oh my gosh.
Well, that's what I don't know if it actually says that.
You are such a nerd. And you've been holding you've been holding Harry Potter over my head for years.
I don't host multiple podcasts.
During these years, you've been stocking up bells and you're becoming a billionaire.
I've been winning. I've been playing the game well, and I've been investing well, and my bank account has something to show for it.
I can't believe this. Unbelievable. Anyway, okay, you have to stay away from our Discord or subreddit. Anything that we have or anything Potter related, just stay away from it for any spoilers.
Yes.
So thank you for those. Thank you for those jokes. Those were lovely. I'm going to use those in everyday life, but stay away from that.
Happy to do what I can. Yeah, I won't look at anymore.
Anyway, welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
I'm Abbie.
And this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. So this podcast is working out great because by the time me and Abbie finish Sorcerer Stone, Abbie's going to take a little bit of a breather, probably like a 2-3 week breather. And then we're going to start up with the season 1 crew again, finishing book 7 or starting book 7. We're not going to finish book 7 quite yet. We're probably going to take a few months to go through it, but we are planning to come back and discuss book 7 very, very soon. And I'm very excited for that one because book 7 is so good. So get ready for that. If you want, go follow us on our subreddit on YouTube. Go subscribe to us on YouTube. That's where all the live streams are. We are at First Time Readers. Our Gmail is firsttimereaders@gmail.com. Our P.O. Box is P.O. Box 474, Hawthorne, New Jersey 07507. If you want to send us anything or you want to send Jen and Danny some cash or a gift for getting married, or you can send me something if you think Abbie's really cool and you want to send her something, you can send it to the P.O. box and I'll send it to her. Go give us a rating and review on wherever you listen to the podcast, on Spotify, on Apple, on Google, Amazon, Echo, whatever it is. And then we also have merch. Finally, we have some merch. Go to our website, firsttimereaders.com. Our store is shop.firsttimereaders.com, but you could just go to firsttimereaders.com and click on the shop icon or the shop button, and you can get some merch. We have t-shirts at the moment. We're probably going to plan on coming out with some more stuff. So go check us out there if you want to support the podcast. You can also become a member on YouTube, and you can join our Patreon. We're going to start incorporating member-only content as soon as we're done with season 1. And we're going to start, we're going to start implementing that. And we're pretty excited for it. We're going to keep doing some more reads with different people. We have different people who want to come on. We're going to talk all things Harry Potter and all things nerddom. We're going to try to build out this channel on YouTube and try to build out this whole podcast to be just like nerd central. So I'm very excited for that because that's my habitat, nerd central. Anyway, enjoy these chapters of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, chapters 11 to 14, where me and Abbie just kind of talk over these chapters. So enjoy. All right, well, let's get into this. We have 4 chapters we're going to discuss. So the first one is chapter 11. Can you give me a summary of chapter 11, which is Quidditch?
Yes. Let me look at my notes so I can keep the chapters straight. Okay, Harry's first Quidditch game. Snape jinxed his broomstick.
Okay.
It was going up very high. Snake, who's bad news, nothing but bad news. Hermione realizes what's happening, and she forget, does she do something to like break the curse, or forget what happens?
She runs up, bowls over some teachers. I think like Flitwick goes flying or like Quirrell goes flying, and then she what does she do? She sets fire.
Oh, that's right.
To
like distract.
To distract to the robes, and then Snape ducks out and leaves.
Well, one of many strikes for Snape. He's bad, bad, bad.
Yeah, one of many, because you've had a lot of different strikes against him already.
Yes, he's already on the dark, bad, evil list to me. Well, before that, actually, his friends come and they make him a banner. Isn't that cute? I like that part. Yeah, and it says that his heart jumped or something, and he felt brave. Yeah. I loved that.
That line's the only line that I wrote from this chapter because I love it. Harry thought Flint looked as if someone had troll blood, or as if he had some troll blood. Out of the corner of his eyes, he saw a fluttering banner flying high above, flashing "Potter for President" over the crowd. His heart skipped. He felt braver. That's adorable.
And they make it so like the words are like moving or something on the banner, like it comes to life or something. I just love that. So he has friends who like love him and are cheering for him. He feels brave. So he wins the game. Is that the one where he catches it like in his mouth basically while he's like diving down, or is that another game?
Nope, that's it. This is the game.
Yeah. So it's like a very dramatic end of the game, but he wins.
Yep.
So everyone is celebrating. And everyone then goes to dinner. And while Harry is about to put his broomstick away, he notices someone walking in a hood, and he notices the walk. So he sees Snape yet again walking to the Forbidden Forest, right? Let me look at my notes. No. Wait. Oh, that's not yet. I'm getting mixed up.
I think this is after a practice.
Limping. I'm getting confused. I'm so sorry. This is why I need my notes.
Yeah, good.
He sees Snape limping. And then that's right. And then this is like earlier when Snape took his book. So Harry wants to go ask for his book back. And so Harry knocks on the door of the teacher's lounge. No one answers. So Harry cracks the door open and sees Filch.
No, up to no good.
They're in cahoots. He sees Filch helping Snape, like with his leg wounds or whatever. So Harry figures out that he's gotten bit by that dog or whatever that is guarding the mystery item.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Which at that point is still a mystery item. Okay, so then he sees Hagrid. He tells Hagrid about what happened, and Hagrid lets the name slip. Basically, he's like trying to get the kids to forget about it, but he lets the name slip. This is something between Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel.
Nicholas Flamel. Dun, dun, dun.
And that's how the chapter concludes.
Have we heard of Nicholas Flamel before?
Well, yes and no. He's not been like a part of the story. Well, no, we haven't heard of him before, but Ron and Harry. So one of the kids is like, oh, I've heard the name before. I just can't place it.
Yeah, for sure. So do you know who this guy could be?
At that time, no, but in the other chapters you find out.
Oh yeah, did we already do the Nicholas Flamel chapter? Oh, we did. Yeah. So we won't jump ahead to there, but we know who he is. I was thinking that we hadn't done that chapter yet, and I was like, oh, this could be great to ask you so many questions about that. But
no, that's part of the chunk we just read.
Yeah. 13, okay, we're good.
13 maybe.
So who is Nicholas Flamel now that you know?
So Nicholas Flamel is Dumbledore's partner, and he's 665 years old.
Yeah. How is he 660 something years old?
Well, I can't help but assume. Well, now we're really jumping ahead, to because later we find out what the Sorcerer's Stone is.
Yeah.
And it goes into creating the elixir of life or something like that, where you live forever.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume that Flamel has drank of this, because how else could he be 665 years old?
Okay. We'll talk about that when we get to those chapters, so we'll hold off on that one. This is chapter 11 is a very Quidditch centric chapter. So what do you think of the game? Do you like it? Do you think it's like nerdy? Do you think it's just stupid?
It's a little bit. I mean, it's like a nerd sport. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's a nerd sport, but some of the games don't last that long. Yeah,
I mean, this one lasted really short. And then later when because we got to the chapter right in, I think, chapter 14.
Yeah, the game is like 5 minutes. It's like the shortest game ever.
Because Snape is the ref and they don't want anything to do with him. So Harry catches it super quick and the game is just completely over at then.
Yeah.
But most games, they don't take that short. Some games, happens a little bit longer. This one wasn't like a super short game, but...
Well, in another chapter, and that I think in the later chapter, his friends are so worried that he could die in a game. So it's a nerd sport, and yet it's potentially deadly. So it's a little surprising. So
do you think it's a wise move to have Harry play a sport at such a young age where there's a threat of dying?
No, not really. Unless the little nerd just wants to have a thrill, you know.
Yeah. Little nerd boy. little turd boy and little nerd boy. We'll call him.
Yeah. No, it is surprising that it's not just surprising that he's a whiz kid his first year, but it's surprising also that it's so dangerous and he's like a star player the first year.
Yep. What do you think though of him being almost jinxed off his broom?
Evil, dark-sided. Snape is a very dark person.
Why is Snape trying to do that though?
I mean, I just assume at this point he's very jealous and threatened of Harry. He knows the power that Harry holds, and
what do you mean the power he holds?
He has the mark of not being killed by Voldemort, so clearly he holds some sort of power. So Snape hates him for it and is very jealous.
So Snape wants that power, which is why he is cursing him on a broom. Is it just out of jealousy that he's doing this?
No. Is it just out of jealousy he's doing this? No, I think he's threatened. There is some battle I don't know about yet, or we haven't gotten to yet, and Snape is threatened by the power that Harry Potter holds. because he is the chosen one.
Do you think I guess I'm just essentially trying to ask something that's unanswerable, but I want you to like theorize about it. Is what is Snape's background? Like why does he have such oppressive hatred for Harry? At this point, what it seems like a lot of hatred for him.
Well, didn't they say that Snape is one of the ones who came back from like the dark side after Voldemort ran away?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that story is not finished, is not fully turned back to the good side. I think that his fearless dark leader just like ran away. So in the meantime, he's posing as a good person. But when given the opportunity, he will turn back to the dark side. He just has to like power back up because they've lost their commander.
So when they get their commander back, do you think that that'll be like the impetus for him to go back to the dark side? Or is he?
Yes, either or he will be the commander himself. I don't know if he's trying to be the new commander. Don't know about that yet, but I think it's a strong possibility.
The new commander. Do you think that that would be the thing that would get him over to the dark side? If either he was to become the new commander, do you think that there's anything else? Like in your mind, do you think that he for sure is a double agent?
It seems like it, yes.
So why is Hogwarts hiring this professor? Like almost even outside the world. Do you think that like how has Dumbledore been tricked and McGonagall and all these people who are pretty brilliant?
Well, it's the same to me as like when a spy infiltrates the government.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
They just wiggle their way in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes those people he doesn't seem like a charming person, but he's just a manipulative person.
But there's also something about it where even Hagrid thinks that they're crazy by telling this story. Like Hagrid's like, no, he's a teacher. There's nothing that's he can't do anything like that.
Well, that to me is easily debunked. Like Hagrid is a little bit gullible.
Yeah.
So Hagrid's warnings don't mean a whole lot to me. We do learn in one of these chapters too that Snape, we find out what the Sorcerer's Stone is, and then we know that a handful of teachers have like put spells to help protect it, and Snape is one of those teachers, but I'm still not convinced of anything because Snape is just two-faced. I think he's pretending to be good, but he's a secret. He's a dark agent.
So is he your top suspect now?
Yes.
Like he's the most evil in this book.
I don't know that he's more evil than Voldemort, but Voldemort isn't present in this part of the story. So to me right now, the most evil is Snape. Yes.
And I mean, completely switching gears here. Who do you think is Harry's greatest ally?
Oh, I think Ron.
Yeah, because we were texting and like sending videos, and you really love Ron and Harry's friendship.
Yeah, I love their friendship. They're like best buddies, and they have each other's backs.
Yeah, it's like
as a peer, I think it's Ron is his biggest ally, whatever you just said. Ally.
Yeah.
But as an adult, I'm getting some tinglings about Dumbledore.
Okay.
Being in Harry's corner.
Yeah. Do you think
some tinglings?
Some tinglings.
Inklings? I don't know what word I was trying to use there.
I think inklings might be the word. We'll use it.
My spidey senses are picking up.
We'll use tinglings for now on.
Dumbledore.
I'm tingling. I feel like Dumbledore is part of Harry's side. You trust Dumbledore?
Yes.
So if Dumbledore, let's say like Dumbledore is incessant that he says he trusts, people that you don't trust. Or on the other flip side of things, let's say like Snape says he trusts Dumbledore. Whose side would you take? Like
between Snape and Dumbledore?
Yeah. Let's say
Dumbledore. Snape is bad to me.
But here's what I'm saying though. Let's say Dumbledore says, he's like, I trust Severus Snape. I trust he's a good teacher. Do you trust Dumbledore, or do you trust that Snape is better than Dumbledore and he's hiding it from Dumbledore?
I don't think that he's better than Dumbledore.
Okay, yeah, maybe not better.
He's tricked. I think he's tricked him.
Okay. So you're very convinced that Snape is just being tricky right now?
Yes.
All right. Very interesting.
Every reason to believe that.
100%.
I have every reason to believe that.
Yeah,
so
for
don't
sure.
Go gaslighting me, sweetheart.
What do you think about Lee Jordan? Do you know who Lee Jordan is?
No.
He's the commentator for the Quidditch match. He's friends with Fred and George Weasley.
Oh,
he was
I didn't pick up on that at all.
He was commentating the Quidditch match, and he was shooting a shot with Angelina Johnson during the match.
I missed all of that.
Really? When he was commentating,
Angelina Johnson.
Angelina Johnson was a chaser for Gryffindor, and Lee Jordan was like, "Oh, and that's an excellent move by Angelina Johnson, chaser for the Gryffindor Quidditch team, and also very attractive as well." He was like throwing little things in there.
Kind of remember that. They're like side characters to me, so I don't really give them too much space in my brain.
Do you think that any of these side characters are going to become main characters and later on?
Well, there's like a handful of professors that I think are going to be, I don't know how much more into the story they will become. I wonder about his roommates, but I mean, I think that Ron, Harry, and Hermione I think they're going to stay, those three, through the whole series. I think that.
All right.
I don't know about his roommates, if any of them will become bigger characters or if they'll just stay on the side. I think that my prediction is that the professors are going to kind of come and go. Like some of them will come into the spotlight a little bit more sometimes. And some will fade away.
Yeah, I like that. Like books will emphasize some at some points and not others. Yeah, I like that. The Quidditch chapter is pretty Quidditch centric, so there's not a ton else going on. But did you have any other notes on that?
Let me look. No, just that we definitely know that Filch and Snape are in cahoots.
Yeah.
In this chapter. When he peeked in the teacher's lounge. I didn't really know before this chapter if Snape was working with someone else. And now I can tie him to Filch.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think that
Filch is on the bad side with me now?
All right. Yeah. What is your first general impression of Filch?
Well, I can't remember. I'm getting some of the names mixed up in my head now. Who is the teacher? I think it's Flitwick. Remember when he started classes and one of the teachers like squeals and falls
Flitwick.
over?
Yeah.
Okay, that's who I was confused with in my mind. I don't remember meeting Filch. Which one is Filch again?
Filch is the groundskeeper. He's like the maintenance man, pretty much.
Oh, that was Hagrid.
No, Hagrid is the gameskeeper. He keeps the animals and he keeps the ground a little bit. So Hagrid is the one that is like protecting the animals around the castle. Filch is the one that's like cleaning the castle.
Okay, I don't remember that part. Okay, well, Filch is now over on the dark side.
He's the caretaker. Do you know what his pet is called?
Filch?
Yeah.
What Filch's pet is called?
Yeah. It pops up in one of the chapters, Mrs. Norris. It's a cat, and Mrs. Norris like roams the hallways for him and like patrols and makes sure like the students are making a mess or doing anything crazy.
That connection. Okay, so Mrs. Norris is connected to Filch.
Yeah.
Is Mrs. Yeah. Okay, I do remember that name. I didn't miss that connection. Actually, while we're thinking of it, who is Peeves? I kind of miss like.
That's a great question.
Who is that creature and what are they?
Yeah. This took me years to figure this one out because I never really knew what he was because people said he was something other than a ghost. He's called a poltergeist, and I never knew what a poltergeist was. And I still didn't know when I like Googled it. I didn't understand what it was until some people helped me out and they gave me like extra stuff that she's written. So bear with me for a hot second. Peeves isn't a ghost. He's essentially like an entity created by the students because there's a lot of mischief that happens at the school. So like, because there's so much concentrated mischief that's happening at the school, there was like a being that was created, Peeves, whose almost sole job it is to annoy students and cause mischief at the school. Like that's what he does. He's like a little annoying.
Created by the students?
He wasn't it wasn't like they consciously created him. He just appeared. I think I might be completely getting this wrong. So if anybody in chat thinks I'm getting this wrong, correct me on this because I still barely understand what Peeves is and what he's doing. He's not
Sometimes
a ghost.
You walk over to like the pool of like nerd knowledge and you just pull out something so specific and so deep.
No, because I didn't understand what this was too. I was in your position and I had read them like 5 times and I was like, I still don't really understand what Peeves is. So I need to figure out what he is. Even when we did the first recording, he's not a ghost because he can control things. He can like control objects and matter. Ghosts, they just float through them. Peeves is something different, but he's not a human. He's an entity created.
Is he like, does he work for the school? Is he like...
No, he's essentially like, he's like ghost-like. He just appeared and he just does whatever he wants to do.
He doesn't work on behalf of like McGonagall or something.
If the school ceased to exist and the school completely shut down, Peeves would probably go into non-existence. I don't know if they would call it death. I don't know what it would be, but he would just, because humans die. Ghosts don't die. Good. Humans are the ones that die.
Okay.
So I think he would just poof, go away.
Okay. Okay. Well, that answers my question that he's not working for one side or the other. He just kind of exists.
Yeah. He just exists to cause mischief.
Okay.
All right. Glad that we got that squared away. Can you give me a summary of chapter 12, The Mirror of Erised?
Yes.
Lovely little chapter here.
Yeah, this chapter was a heart-wrenching. Does it start with Christmas? I get some of the timeline a little mixed in my head. I think it's Christmas.
Yep.
And Harry is at the school. Ron is like a bunch of people are at the school who couldn't go home. So I do love that Ron also couldn't go home. His parents were taking a trip, I want to say. But so it just made like that little group all stay there. So Ron's mom sent them, well, they woke up and they each had like a pile of presents at the end of their bed. So Harry wasn't left out. Ron had presents too. Ron's mom gave Harry a sweater that she made all of her sons. And then
so lovely.
Ron's brothers came in and were like, "Oh, you got a sweater too." Like, I thought that was really cute.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, shockingly even, his aunt and uncle sent him like a measly something, but they still sent him something.
Yeah.
Which seemed a little out of character.
Why? Yeah. Why would they send that?
It's like they sent him like a penny base. I don't remember what they sent it, but it was like next to nothing. So it's like, why? But also, why put that in the story? It doesn't seem like their character at all.
No one actually knows that. That's like a really weird one. But most people, and this is what my theory is too, that Hedwig, Harry's owl, flew home and pecked them and annoyed them until they gave Harry something. So Hedwig's looking out for Harry, which is like kind of beautiful. Like Hedwig is such a good pet and such a good friend that she will fly away, peck the Dursleys who mean nothing to Harry, really, until they give him something.
And that's your theory?
Yeah, that's most people's theory. I don't know of another theory, to be honest, of why they would send him something.
Where do in a minute or less, where do you Potter people go to discuss these theories?
Mostly Reddit. Reddit is a place where you just discuss it. It's like the front page of the internet. Everyone goes there.
How does it come? Do you go there and you're like,
yeah,
hey, in this chapter, what does this mean?
There's a Harry Potter subreddit that has 2 million people. And if I have a question on there, I'll write it out. And within 5 minutes, I'll get 10 responses. It's people. People are just Harry Potter nerds, and they love. I'll patrol that every once in a while and chime in on some interesting stuff. It's lovely. Shocking. And then if you want extra stuff, it used to be called Pottermore. It's called Wizarding World now. It's like the main website. But there was
right.
yeah.
You had me take the quiz.
Yeah, exactly. There were all sorts. When I was reading these books, there wasn't anything. There was something called MuggleNet. We're crossing nerd thresholds now. I am just taking a full dive into the nerd pool right now. I'm not dipping my toes in anymore.
Yeah, this is nothing compared to my 34 million bells in the bank. You are a
no way. This is
in Potterville.
I'm not. I
digress.
You probably won't believe this, but I've read the books probably 10 to 15 times, close to like 15 times, and the knowledge that I have of Harry Potter is so minimal compared to some other people who know Harry Potter like the back of their hand.
That's what you say, but I don't even know how that's possible.
I could go to like a trivia night and probably like compete really highly at a trivia night, but I don't think I would like win it. I think there are people who are so much more into this than I am. I'm so into this. I have a podcast on Harry Potter because I love it so much and I'm obsessed with it. But there are people who know every in and out of this. I don't know all the ins and outs of this. Like Peeves, like some people just know exactly what he is, what he does. Everything about him. And there's a lot of extra stuff that she's written that I haven't really touched on. And MuggleNet, this is one reason why I love Harry Potter too, again, for the community. And you can shut me up at any point. But the community of this, when I was first reading these, I started reading these when the fourth book came out and I like picked that up. And then as soon as I finished the fourth book, the fifth one came out. So I was lucky. But in between these books, people were so obsessed about coming up with theories and trying to figure out what the ending was. So MuggleNet was the place to go where everyone would talk about theories and they would talk about what's going to happen in the next book. There were so many theories, wild theories were coming up. So I would go on that every once in a while, not a ton, and just peruse and like see what major theories were hitting and see if they made sense. And that's like the community went wild in between the books. It was fun.
I'm not saying it in judgmental, but I don't get why did it get this like instant cult like following. I'm not there yet.
Yeah, for sure.
I haven't finished this book yet, but I still don't really quite get the level.
Yeah.
Were you hooked after you read book one? She released books 1 and 2 at the same time. I don't really know the timeline.
I think I was caught up maybe a little bit in hysteria, which is again why I say if you can get through the third book, I think you'll probably be hooked by the third book. You might not be, and again, I'm going to keep saying that you might not be hooked by the third book, but the first two are.
When did you sell your soul? After books 1 or 2 or 3?
No, I read the whole series and I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. I was really into it. It was probably like around the third one or the fourth one where I was like, this series, I'm obsessed with the series. I really want to keep going. But I got caught up in the hysteria of it getting released and like having to wait for that. It was like a serialized book. So there's like the anticipation that builds, like the communities that build. That's the stuff that creates the excitement. You're reading this like with me and with other people who are reading it with you, but you're kind of reading this isolated and you're like not. Like Game of Thrones was like this. When people were watching Game of Thrones, it was like you watch an episode and you really excitedly like you want to know what goes on in the next one.
You talk about
it. You talk about it and no one knows what's going to come. So it's exciting in that way, which is what I experience. And you're not experiencing that really that much, except for like me and you were talking about this and you could talk about it with Christine and some others. But that was the hysteria for it. But now when people read it, everyone, and this is like a pretty common thing. It's not everyone, but when you read all 7 books, if you read all 7 books, whenever anybody reads all 7 books, almost universally, people will put books 1 and 2 as their least favorite because books 3 through 7 are just so exceptional and so well paced and like perfect stories that books 1 and 2, even though people love them, they put them at the end of their lists. So that's why I say if you get through 1 and 2 and get on 3, I think you're gonna like the series a lot more. Book 2 is my least favorite, even though I love book 2. It's an exceptional piece of literature. I love it.
Oh, exceptional piece of literature. Wow. Well, even though it's so many years past when it came out, it's still like forever to rent.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's like she still has a chokehold on like the book system and the library system. I had to wait over 10 weeks, I think, to download, to rent
the audiobook.
Well, no, even just like the first book to like read on my Kindle was like over a 10-week wait. And then it was like 12 or 16, whatever, if I wanted to rent the audiobook. I guess the second book I could have rented right away, which was interesting. But the
Yeah.
first book was weeks out
Yeah.
to wait. And we're like, what, over a decade when
Mhm.
after the book has been
It's
written,
still,
so-
yeah, it's still going strong. And that's the annoying thing too. Like when I wanted to listen to these all the time and I was just sick of getting them from the library. So I like just made an investment and bought all the audiobooks because I listened to them all the time.
Investment.
Yeah. Back then it was an investment. Now I could probably do it easier. But I was like, oh man, it's going to to be like a lot of money.
It's an appreciated.
Yeah, I know, for sure. I know. No, I'm saying now I could like buy it.
Emotional investment.
Yeah. But yeah, it still has a stranglehold on people, more than people know. It still is huge because it's just a fun series to go through. And it's like one of those where you go through it once and you're like, man, that was great. That was really enjoyable. I got lost in the world. I want to do it again. So maybe we'll get there. You might, again, I'm going to humor you a little bit. You might never like it. You might hate this whole thing as we're going through.
I'm humoring you. I'm reading the books. Okay, let me get back to the chapter.
Yeah.
So it's Christmas.
Dursley sent him a gift. The Weasleys sent him a gift.
Dursleys. Okay. I think I'm a little out of order here, but at some point they run into Malfoy in the hall and he taunts Ron.
Mm-hmm.
Then Snape catches them and Ron loses points for their house. They keep searching. So I guess this is before Christmas because Hermione is still there. So they start searching for the name Nicholas Flamel and they can't find it anywhere in like their books of wizardry and everything. They can't find his name anywhere.
Yep.
Hagrid tells them to stop and drop it. Then Christmas comes. So he gets all the gifts. And then one of his gifts is the invisibility cloak.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't know who it's from, but there's a note in there that it belonged to his dad and to use it well. Okay, side note, I can't help but wonder. My first thought was who sent it to him.
Yeah, of course.
Dumbledore.
Why would Dumbledore? Why?
I don't know. Just who else would have a connection to his dad? Who else would know where Harry is? And then so my first thought was Dumbledore. And
what, did I just give a tell or something like that?
A little bit. And then later on, well, in a minute when he's about to go to the mirror, Dumbledore catches him the third night. So Dumbledore could know he has this invisibility cloak and he's like roaming the hall. So my first thought was perhaps Dumbledore, but we don't know. So Harry gets this invisibility cloak and the first thing he does is, while I'm like reading this, I'm like, go to that fluffy dog and see what they're hiding. Like that has to be the first thing you go and do.
Yeah.
But the first thing he does is go to the library to the restricted section to look up Nicholas Flamel.
Well, you have to know too that there are other spells that are protecting. They don't know this at this point.
Well, no, but they already know that this big monster is like hiding something. So I thought, like, why wouldn't he just beeline right for that?
Yeah, that's true.
But so he goes to the restricted section and a book starts screaming.
Yeah, which is weird.
That's just funny. The book starts screaming and then he's afraid he's going to get caught. So he runs away and then Filch.
Mm-hmm. Dirty old Filch.
Filch enters back into the picture, comes into the library. Harry gets by him. And then so Harry basically accidentally kind of stumbles in this room on his way out. Mm-hmm. Does Snape come up to the library right away? I want to say Snape comes up to the library too.
I think so, remember. Yeah. Where he goes Harry and finds Snape.
Yeah. So Harry accidentally stumbles into this room with like desks and stuff. It looks like a classroom, but then there's a mirror in there and he's looking in the mirror and there are people looking at him and waving and smiling. And then basically he realizes it's his mom and dad and family. And it talks about how there's like other people with eyes that look like his.
Yeah.
And a skinny man with like dark hair like his. And his mom has tears in her eyes, but she's waving at him.
Isn't it so beautiful?
Yeah, that's just twisted my little heart.
I know. There's like some descriptions I'm going to read of that chapter or this chapter that are just, they're perfect. They're so beautiful and so sad that what Harry goes through.
Chapter was heart-wrenching. Yeah. You could like feel the emotion.
Because the emotional pull from him getting these gifts, like this is one line. Harry wakes up. Oh, what this is literally the most perfect line that I just read this. Listen to this, Abbie. Will you look at this? I've got presents. This is what Ron says. What did you expect? Turnips? He's playing Animal Crossing too.
A little bit of foreshadowing.
Ron's staying up on his Switch at night playing Animal Crossing.
Yeah. The stock market.
Oh my goodness. But I love that Harry experiences this high of getting presents. Like he's never had a good Christmas before. He's never gotten presents before. And then all of a sudden he gets them and he's like elated. And then he gets this, and this is the description even of the invisibility cloak. Something fluid and silvery gray went slithering to the floor, where it lay in gleaming folds. Ron gasped. I've heard of those, he said in a hushed voice, dropping the box of every flavored beans he got from Hermione. If that's what I think it is, they're really rare and really valuable. What is it? Harry said, picking up the silvery cloak off the floor. It was strange to touch, like water woven into material. It's an invisibility cloak, said Ron, a look of awe on his face. So you think the invisibility cloak is from Dumbledore. Could it be from anybody else? Rack your brain.
Yes, but I don't see anyone else that we know of in the story sending it to him. Maybe someone else sent it to him that we don't know about yet.
Like why are you ruling
any of the other professors sending it to him?
Okay, my question is, why are you ruling them out?
I just don't sense it. I don't really see that happening.
But why? Okay, so maybe some of the professors, but why wouldn't like McGonagall? McGonagall was there during the drop off at his birth. Probably knew the dad. Why wouldn't McGonagall have given this to him? McGonagall gave him, the Nimbus 2000. Why wouldn't she give him an invisibility cloak? Gotcha.
I'm not ruling it out. I think my first thought was Dumbledore. And then I feel like that was a little bit stronger even of a suspicion when he catches him at the mirror. So I feel like I actually have two inklings. But I don't think it would be Hagrid, for example, because Hagrid would just tell him.
Okay. Yeah.
I could see it being McGonagall, but I just think it's less likely.
Yeah, for sure. Hagrid, that's like one of his characteristics. You're like, if Hagrid had it, he would just give it to him and tell him all about it.
Yeah. Do we find out who gives it to him later?
Yeah. We do.
In this book or in another book?
In this book, yeah.
Oh.
So we find out. But someone even said in this chapter, which I love, that this is kind of the first chapter where you get hints that this children's book has like more to it than just a fun little children's book. Like there was actual depth to this chapter. Because when he goes to the Mirror of Erised, his like what he wants is shown in the mirror, and we're going to talk about that in a bit. But like his face is there's one description where like his nose is pressing against the mirror because he just wants to be by his family, wants to be by his mom and dad so bad. And like the pain that kid must be experiencing in that moment is so tragic. I feel so bad for him.
And how it's like when they're in the midst of like a big game coming up or something with schools coming up, and he like basically throws all that to the side just to keep visiting the mirror every night. Well, every night for 3 nights in a row.
Yeah.
So it's like the most important thing in the world to him at that point. Like it's done something to him that like his day revolves around.
Yeah. So 2 questions on this mirror too. Or I have a lot of questions on this mirror, but 2 initial questions. It's called the Mirror of Erised. Why is it called the Mirror of Erised?
I don't know what the name means, but then the 3rd night when Dumbledore is in there, Dumbledore had an inkling that he would be there. And then Dumbledore basically encourages him to not keep looking for it and to not dwell on the past, but to like live in the present. And
so did Dumbledore explain what it showed though?
well, it shows what their deepest desires are, something like that.
Okay.
So when Ron looked at it,
cool little note.
He saw.
Yeah. What did he say?
He was older and he was like the Quidditch captain or something.
Yeah. And what did Dumbledore say?
He evaded that question. He just said he wished he had socks or something like that.
Yeah. It might not be an evasion of the question. He might really want.
It's a super personal question. It's like, what's your biggest insecurity? Basically, is like what you're asking. Kind of, if you ask someone that, Dumbledore was like, "Oh, I wish I had socks."
That's interesting that you would phrase it as your biggest insecurity because, okay, so this is what the mirror is. Erised, if you look at Erised in a mirror, if you look at it backwards, it spells desire. So it's like the mirror that shows what you desire, which is interesting that you say it's like to show your insecurity because those two things go hand in hand. When you have a desire and you're not meeting that desire, it shows a lot of what your deepest insecurities are.
Yeah, they can overlap. They're not always probably the same things.
Yeah.
But, well, yeah.
And then the inscription on the mirror, it says Erised stra eru oit ube kafru oit onwosi.
If you're about to ask me what that means.
I'm going to ask you what that means. No. I'm just going to explain this one. If you look in this one in a mirror backwards, it says, I show not I show not your face, but your heart's desire.
Okay.
So that's like the purpose of the mirror. It's not to show you who you are. It's to show what like your deepest desire actually is.
Yes.
So we know Ron and Harry's deepest desire. Ron's is to stand alone. Harry's is to be with his family.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you actually think Dumbledore actually saw him holding a thick woolen pair of socks?
No, I'm sure that there's something else there. I don't really know Dumbledore enough yet to guess what his would be. Maybe there's something with Nicholas Flamel and the Sorcerer's Stone that they created together. So maybe if Dumbledore looked in the mirror, he would be the best wizard in the world of all time. Forever.
What do you think that Voldemort would see if he looked into the mirror?
He would be the ruler of the world forever.
Do you think that's what Voldemort's desire is? To rule the world?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I haven't been proven wrong yet.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But here are some descriptions that are like really beautiful descriptions, I think, of the mirror. Where it says, he looked into the mirror again. A woman standing right beside him, his reflection, was smiling at him and waving. He reached out a hand and felt the air behind him. If she was really there, he'd touch her. Their reflections were so close, but he only felt air. And she and the others existed only in the mirror. Harry was so close to the mirror now that his nose was nearly touching that of his reflection. Mom, he whispered. Dad? Harry was looking at his family for the first time in his life. The Potter smiled and waved at Harry, and he stared hungrily back at them, his hands pressed against the glass as though he was hoping to fall right through it and reach them. He had a powerful kind of ache inside him, half joy, half terrible sadness. How long he stood there, he did not know. The reflections did not fade, and he looked and looked until a distant noise brought him back to his senses. He couldn't stay there. He had to find his way back to bed. He tore his eyes away from his mother's face, whispered, I'll come back, and hurried from the room.
Don't you just feel like someone's like holding your heart and like just squeezing it? Yep, you just like feel it so much. And I feel like even when you first meet Harry Potter in this book, I feel like, oh, it's so sad. I think maybe from my perspective, I just feel like, oh, I wish he like had a mother's love, like a mother and a father. But like, I want him to like have a mother's love. And he has some like strains of it. He has like a little bit of it here and there from like the Weasley's mom, and Hagrid is so kind and loving to him. But like,
he just doesn't have
fact that he's imagining his own mother looking at him with tears in her eyes and smiling and crying like that. Like
it rips your heart apart.
My heart.
I know.
Yeah.
Because
punch right in your heart.
The other sad thing is this is probably the first time he's ever actually seen his mother. I'm sure that the Dursleys don't have any pictures of his parents or anything like that. He's probably never seen what his mom and dad look like.
I was thinking that, yeah.
And that's
so sad that his parents wouldn't even show him pictures of his
I know.
family of origin and his grandparents and stuff like that. That sense of belong. So this is also ties into, I think, him being I don't know how much of it is being an Enneagram 9 versus just like human nature.
Yeah.
But just like that sense of identity and of belonging, like he's missing that really.
Yeah.
And like he's gonna always be searching for that, I think, because of his childhood.
Yeah. And there is like the description of one of the beginning chapters of these books where he says he'd been in the castle for like a month and already it felt more home to him than the Dursleys, but still like he feels at home in the castle with all his friends, but he doesn't have that like true sense of home with his parents, with his like real family, because his family was taken from him. His family was like murdered, which is just, this chapter makes your heart ache for him.
But that's why I'm glad. Yes. And I'm also glad that he had some friends who had to stay at school during the holidays. So
absolutely.
He wasn't like totally alone.
Yeah, absolutely. That was lovely for him. Like Ron staying, the Weasleys all staying for him.
And just them hanging out too. I think this is a chapter where they're just hanging out over break, like playing chess. Like what's better than just like hanging out with your friends? Nothing to do, no schoolwork.
Yeah.
Like those are just like always happy times.
I think one of the descriptions was the Weasley twins had enchanted snowballs and they were pelting the back of Quirrell's head with the snowballs or something like that. Like they were walking through the corridors and they were just enchanting these snowballs to hit Quirrell. It was so funny.
I don't remember that part.
But this time it's just like Harry has found like really good friends, but he still has this deeper desire in his heart to see his family, which is just tragic. And then when he goes back again and he sees Dumbledore, this is what happens. So back again, Harry. Harry felt as though his insides had turned to ice. He looked beside him. Sitting on one of the desks by the wall was none other than Albus Dumbledore. Harry must have walked straight past him, so desperate to get to the mirror, he hadn't noticed him. I didn't see you, sir. Strange how short-sighted being invisible can make you, said Dumbledore.
Okay, he's saying that because he gave him the cloak. Side note, continue. I'm sorry.
Maybe, but Dumbledore also has a flex later that he says he doesn't need an invisibility cloak to be invisible.
Flex.
How else do you think you could be invisible if you don't have an invisibility cloak?
Well, he knows spells for it, I think.
Okay. Nice, quick answer. But he has this other line too. That's a really brilliant line. He says, if you ever run across it again, you will not be prepared. And he says, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. Remember that. Which is just a great, profound line.
It's very wise. Yes, that shows his age and his wisdom. So, while we're on the subject again, is Dumbledore as old as Nicholas Flamel?
That's a question I have for you. Is he as old as Nicholas Flamel?
Well, I asked you first.
Do you sense that? Do you sense he's as old as Nicholas Flamel, or do you sense
Well, I don't see how they wouldn't be, because they developed he has to be, logically, I think, because they created the Sorcerer's Stone together, and Nicholas Flamel is 665 years old. So to me, that means the Sorcerer's Stone was made 600 or whatever years ago, because how else would Nicholas Flamel have lived this long? But if Voldemort was also present for this to have been created, he would have also drank the elixir of eternal life or whatever. So I don't see how it didn't all happen all together at the same time.
Okay, interesting. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Nothing to say. My logic is airtight.
I don't know about that, but...
Well, how could it happen where Nicholas Flamel, how else would he be 665 years old? Let's say they created this Sorcerer's Stone 50 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just gonna correct you on this one because you are wrong on this one.
Well, you're reading comments, I can tell. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm reading a comment that says I need to correct you because you're gonna get this wrong continually if I don't correct you right now.
Me or you?
You. They don't Dumbledore is not as old as Nicholas Flamel. Nicholas Flamel is the sole creator of the Sorcerer's Stone. And the Sorcerer's Stone is the thing that creates the elixir of life, but Dumbledore partnered with him later to study this kind of stuff. Nicholas Flamel is the wizarding world's greatest alchemist, probably. And he's the one that created all this kind of stuff. And Dumbledore just like is a brilliant wizard and wants to study. He like became friends with him later on, and they're studying this together.
It says on that card that they're maybe it just says they're partners in alchemy.
Yeah.
But I thought it said they were partners for the Sorcerer's Stone. Does it not say that? So Dumbledore is not a partner in creating the Sorcerer's Stone?
No. Let me try to find the actual card and what it says.
I can look up where it is in the book.
Okay.
I believe
so.
it.
Yeah, it says he was a close friend and partner with with the Hogwarts headmaster, Albus Dumbledore. He owed his considerable age to the elixir of life, which is produced from the stone. And he is one of the oldest wizards in history, but he is just partners. He's not partners with an alchemy. He's an alchemist who has made this, and Dumbledore has just partnered with him later in life.
Okay, so Dumbledore did not co-create the Sorcerer's Stone.
No.
Okay.
Thank you for
correcting me.
Yeah. Because Dumbledore isn't that old. Well, he's old. He's like significantly old, but he's not as old he's not 600 something years old.
So they've partnered together during Dumbledore's life.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. What would you see in the Mirror of Erised? Just kidding. That's a way too personal question.
Right. What would you see?
I actually think that's a really difficult question to answer because
socks.
Yeah, I know. Because I don't know how many people would be completely cognizant of what they actually truly desire. I think some people would be, but I think that's a really difficult question to answer.
Yeah, I have an idea.
Yeah.
That's for my therapist.
Yep. All right, let's go on to the Nicholas Flamel chapter. Unless you have anything else in this chapter you want to talk about.
Let me look at I have to check my notes here so I don't forget something
yes.
really profound to just call you out on. No, that's it.
Okay, perfect.
That's it. Okay.
Give me a summary of 13.
13. Let me look at my notes. So Harry, coming off the mirror thing, Harry has nightmares where he hears a cackle and sees a flash of green light, which is a just terrible flashback to the night that his parents died. So Hermione comes back after Christmas break. Quidditch practice starts back up again. If Gryffindor can win, they will win the house, and that will be the first time in 7 years. So there's a lot of pressure riding on this.
Yep.
But they learn that Snape is the referee for the next game. So one afternoon, this is when one afternoon they find that card where Dumbledore, they see Nicholas Flamel's name. So Hermione runs and gets a book and reads that he's the creator of the Sorcerer's Stone. We learn what the Sorcerer's Stone is. It turns metal into gold and makes the elixir of life to be immortal. Harry then wins the match in record. Wait, actually pause.
Okay.
This is where I'm sure that that's when I guessed what was in the package out of Gringotts.
Yeah.
I said it's either the Sorcerer's Stone or maybe a broken piece of a wand. So I was 100% right that it was the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah, you were right about that one. You nailed it. I'll send you a prize later.
Well, you could save it till the end of the book. I'm sure I'll be right about a few more things. So Harry wins the match in record time, I believe 5 minutes. So this is when, after the game, everybody's celebrating, and Harry sees Snape basically walking towards the Forbidden Forest in like a cape and a hood. And so Harry gets back on his Nimbus 2000 and flies over there and spies and sees, who is he talking to? Quirrell in the forest, and he's threatening Quirrell to give him the hocus pocus to be able to get past Fluffy to get into like what that thing is guarding.
Yeah.
And so then Ron, at the end of the chapter, Harry goes to tell Ron and Hermione.
Perfect. That was excellent. Your descriptions are lovely. I love your descriptions of these.
Thank you. Summary.
This was one of the intro lines of the chapter, which is a great line, which said, "Chess was the only thing Hermione ever lost at." Something Harry and Ron thought was very good for her. I love that so much.
I like that line too. Actually, during all these chapters, I can't help but think, what a good friend Hermione. Hermione is the kind of friend you want in your corner. Like she always comes through for them. She helps them study.
Yeah.
She knows the right spells to like unlock their legs and the broomstick and stuff. Like she's the kind of friend you want in your corner. She's a little much.
Yeah.
But now that they've crossed over into friendship land with her, she's a good friend to have.
Do you think that who do you think is the better friend to Harry? Like, who does Harry... I don't know if he values one friend over the other, but do you think he actually values one friend over the other?
I think Ron and him are like the tightest.
Yeah, I think so.
But Hermione is definitely in their circle.
Yeah. And yeah, just what you said. Hermione is the friend that you need in like a tight spot. She just knows everything. She knows what to do. She keeps her head. She's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on Neville, though? So Neville pops up in this chapter with this little cute line. He goes, "There's no need to tell me I'm not brave enough to be in Gryffindor. Malfoy's already done that," Neville choked. Harry felt in the pocket of his robes and pulled out a chocolate frog. The very last one from the box Hermione had given him for Christmas. He gave it to Neville, who looked as though he might cry. "You're worth 12 of Malfoy," Harry said. Which is great on Harry. I love that he gave him his last chocolate frog card. But what do you think of Malfoy? Or not Malfoy, of Neville, sorry.
Neville. He seems good. He seems... Yeah, I don't really think too much of him. I think he's just isn't he a roommate?
Yeah, he's very much a side character, but...
Yeah, I don't think that he's bad or anything. He seems like a good guy. He's a friend. I mean, that's relatable. Harry's kind to him and like encourages him. So I think Harry's learning how to be a good friend here too. Like, this is the first time he's had peers and like lived with other people that aren't his terrible family. So I think they have those four have a good dynamic of like looking out for each other and caring for each other.
Yeah, for sure. I love too that Harry is being a good friend. He's not only like receiving good friendships, but he also is turning that around and becoming a good friend to people, because he's probably never really had a friend in his entire life. And the fact that he was resilient when he was younger and able to like push through that and still be a really, really good friend right now, like giving someone his last chocolate frog card, something simple like that is just a beautiful little thing for who Harry is. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. He's able to like see his friend.
Yeah.
And understand what he's going through and encourage him.
Yeah, exactly. Because Harry,
yeah.
It's lovely. What about the kind of the end of this chapter? And we'll go through these last two kind of quick because not a ton happens in these. But when Harry spies on this little conversation, what is going on
in the forest?
Yeah.
Quirrell is very nervous. He's under duress.
Okay.
He is stuttering more than normal. He's being bullied.
Yeah.
By Snape. So Snape is trying to like get information out of him. Snape is saying something like, "Give me that hocus pocus," or something like that. Like, tell me what you did, basically. And Quirrell won't budge. So Snape is like, "Well, I'm going to go away and give you more time to think about it." And then at the end of the chapter, after Harry tells Hermione and Ron, basically like, it's in Quirrell's hands right now, Ron is like, "Oh, that thing will be gone by Tuesday." Like, Ron has no hope that Quirrell will stand strong.
Yep. So do you have more sympathy for Quirrell now that Snape is bullying him?
Yes, I'm a little surprised by that, because Quirrell has been on my dark, bad side of the list because of the whole turban thing and the moment where Snape and Quirrell looked at him when school started and his lightning bolt like activated. So I still have a question mark over Quirrell, but he's leaning a little bit more towards he's not on the good side to me yet, but he's smack dab in the middle.
He's like a neutral character. You just don't know what.
Yeah. He's right in the middle line. He's not quite good, but not quite bad.
But what is Snape bullying him for?
A little bit of hocus pocus. Literally. He wants like the secret spell that Quirrell put on the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah, for sure.
Or that put on Fluffy that hide. I don't really get it, but there's many spells protecting the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah. And he's looking for the way through that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So again, your leading suspect is Snape. Did you catch anything else in that conversation, or is there anything else there that caught you off guard?
No, I was a little bit just surprised that that Quirrell was not giving Snape what he wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, because does Quirrell seem like a resilient guy? Like would he put up a good fight against Snape if Snape and Quirrell were going at it in a fight?
No, well, now I think maybe, but a few chapters ago, if I would have guessed who like a bad person would have been, I would have always said Snape. But if you would have said like, is someone else bad with him? I would have guessed Quirrell.
Yeah.
Just based on the turban interaction, the way that was described in the book. So I'm surprised now a few chapters later to see Quirrell is having an interaction with Snape, but being contrary to Snape. He's not in cahoots together. I think Filch is still in cahoots with Snape.
Yeah.
Because of the interactions they've had. But I'm surprised to see Quirrell standing his ground against Snape and something Snape wants from him.
Filch is just a creepy dude right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's a weird guy.
Not good.
What do you think about... So we did talk about Nicholas Flamel a little bit. Well, what do you think about Nicholas Flamel? Like the whole idea of the Sorcerer's Stone, the elixir of life. General thoughts on that?
I don't really know what's going on there other than someone I think guesses in the book that like, why is the Sorcerer's Stone at Hogwarts? And someone in the book is like, well, he must have known it was in danger of being stolen. And that's why he asked Dumbledore to take it and keep it at Hogwarts. So I don't know who's after it yet. I still don't really know like what the crux of this book is going to be yet, but he knows that someone is after it. I didn't really know. I guess I don't know. Well, I guess I kind of wondered, like, are Nicholas Flamel and Dumbledore not on good terms?
Okay.
So I don't really know that yet, but yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah. And that's stuff that we'll see. That's got some interesting ideas there. I want to know what you think my tell is because I want to start deceiving you.
It's very slight. You haven't done it in a while.
Good. What do you think about, will Nicholas Flamel live forever that he has this thing? And he doesn't have it at the moment right now. So do you think that like he's willingly given this up, or do you think him and Dumbledore had like a fight and Dumbledore took it from him?
I don't see them having a fight and Dumbledore taking it from... I don't know. I think he's already drank this elixir of life, though, because how else would he be 665 years old?
But could it be something where you have to drink it continuously?
That's not eternal, then. That's like semi-eternal.
So. No, but you can keep making elixir of life from this little stone if you have the stone. So whoever has the stone in their possession, they're able to live forever.
But if you drink it once, would you not live forever? That's
a question. Is it a one-time drinking thing, or is it a you have to continually drink it? Really important question.
Well, if it's the elixir of life, it should be a one time and you drink it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it shouldn't be called the elixir of life. It should be called the elixir of a long time until you get the stone again and can drink the potion again.
That's actually what it's called in the second book. They call it that exact name. The elixir of a very long time that you really need the stone to get.
Until you get your second dose and re-up and drink it again and then live a long time again. But it doesn't last forever. It only lasts so long. And then you have to get like, where is it at? It's either the elixir of eternal life or nothing at all.
What do you think? This is like maybe a weird little question. What do you think is the coolest object in the book so far?
All of your questions are weird, if I can interject. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
What do you think is the coolest object in these books so far? Like, we've seen the elixir of life, we've seen the sorcerer's stone, we've seen the invisibility cloak.
Let me tell you something. I like the dragon.
No way.
I like the dragon. Dragons are the one thing in like your nerd world that I can get down with. I like dragons. They
What?
breathe fire. They fly around. I like the dragon in the next chapter. I'm down with the dragon.
That is one of the most shocking things I've ever heard in my life. I was listening to this chapter with a few people from our like little community, and all of us were talking about what your reaction is going to be to dragons. One of my questions was going to be, all right, how nerdy do you think this chapter is? Are you?
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Curveball at you. Yeah, I'm not into goblins. I'm not into unicorns, but dragons, I'm 100% down for.
That's weird. That's weird where you draw the line.
Well, I'm a 34 billionaire and I like dragons. 34 million billionaire and I like dragons.
That's pretty impressive. That is like pretty stinking impressive.
So yeah.
All right, so let's get into the Norwegian Ridgeback chapter. If you like dragons so much, let's hit that one. Give me a summary of this chapter.
Okay. They run into Hagrid in the library and he invites them basically to his house because they start asking him questions in the library and he's like, shush, stop, don't talk about this in the library. So he invites them to his house. They get it out of him why the stone is at Hogwarts, which he's the one who says then, I guess, like, well, he is saying that Nicholas Flamel must have known it was in danger of being stolen and that's why he asked for it to come to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
And then they get it out of him who helped protect it. And per my note, it is Sprout.
Okay.
Flitwick. McGonagall. Also, these Potter names are like now being saved in my phone and changing like what grammar means. I'm like adding names to my phone. And so I'm saying, no, it's spelled correctly.
That makes me very happy.
Sprout, Flitwick, McGonagall, Dumbledore, and Snape.
Okay. What do you think each of them put as a defense against it? Or a spell?
I absolutely could not tell you. But
it's crazy to think too that we only have 3 chapters left after tonight.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I don't get like, where is this all headed? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
But doesn't that kind of excite you?
Which is very possible.
Isn't that kind of like cool that you don't know where this is headed and we only have 3 chapters left?
I know where it's headed a little bit more because I know now what the Sorcerer's Stone is, but I don't know how it's all going to come together in just 3 short chapters.
Yeah.
Or 4. I don't know how many are left. 3, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, actually, isn't that interesting though that Quirrell is not on this list? But Quirrell's the one who Snape is talking to in the forest.
Quirrell's not on the list. Did you just make a mistake in your list?
I doubt it. Possible. Possible. Well, I'll come back to that. But the rest of the chapter then is they go. So while they're at Hagrid's house, they see he has a dragon egg. And this is where I do like the description. I do like the world she has created. It needs fire. It's roasting over the fire basically because it's like a substitute for its mother's breath.
Yep.
And it needs, actually, let me ask you, what does it need every half an hour after it hatches?
This is an easy question. Come on. Chicken blood and brandy. Yeah. Come on. Don't question me on that.
You're like, this is child's play. I've known that for years.
Which is a shocking amount of brandy. Brandy is really expensive. To keep a dragon alive, that is a ridiculous amount of money.
I don't really get the whole brandy. I like can appreciate the world the author's creating there, but I didn't super get the brandy. Like,
and how many
kids book that seemed a little more adult like kids don't know what brandy is.
And how many chickens is Hagrid slaughtering behind his shed to keep this dragon alive?
Millions.
And on the Christmas, it mentions turkeys, not chickens. They have 100 roast turkeys during the Christmas thing, which is weird because there's not a lot of students around during Christmas. But I was like, if they were chickens, it would have made sense. Yeah, for sure.
It's a good visual though of like just a abundant little cornucopia of food. So he has the dragon. Malfoy has followed them and sees it through the window. So they know that they need to like make a plan to get it away because it's illegal. So they arrange with Ron's brother, I forget his name, in Romania to take it to Romania. Malfoy gets wind of the plan to sneak it up and get it out of there. So on the night that they're supposed to take it up on top of the tallest tower at midnight, Malfoy is nearby with McGonagall trying to catch them. And McGonagall takes Malfoy away and is like, no, you're lying. Like, you're going to get detention or whatever.
Yeah.
So they get the dragon away successfully. And then the three, like Ron, Harry, and Hermione are coming back downstairs. They forget the invisibility cloak at the top of the tower. And when they get down to the bottom, Filch is waiting.
Yep. So annoying that they forgot the stinking invisibility cloak.
Yeah, that's an amateur move.
I know, which they are amateurs, but still, it's annoying.
They are. They're children, but come on, guys.
I know. Have a little responsibility right there. Come on.
For something so precious and valuable as an invisibility cloak. My gosh,
I know. Do you think that an invisibility cloak is pretty rare? Like Ron says it's rare.
That.
Yeah, Ron says it's rare, but how rare do you think it is? Do you think like a few students have one?
Extremely rare. I think I don't know. It's very rare and it's very valuable.
If you could have an invisibility cloak or a stone like the Sorcerer's Stone that like keeps you alive, or if you could have, I don't know, like the greatest wand to ever exist, which one would you pick out of those three?
The wand.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
So I could do spells for a very long time of any kind of spell that I chose. I don't want to be invisible because I feel like not much good would come from it. I would just use it to spy on people. We all know that. And as far as like this Sorcerer's Stone, I think that's much too responsibility for me to handle. I wouldn't want that pressure. I don't want to live forever. I don't want to turn metals into gold. So
you don't want to turn metals into gold. You'll be rich though. You'll have more than a few.
I don't want to mess with it.
You'll be more than a billionaire. You'll be an actual billionaire.
Who needs gold when you've got 30 million bells in the bank? Okay. I don't want to deal with all that. But if you could do spells, you almost have unlimited potential.
Yeah.
Beyond that, what would your answer be?
Maybe the same. Maybe the same. I like the idea of like the invisibility cloak, but the same thing. It's everyone is going to use that for weird reasons to like sneak up or like, but
yeah, I feel like more bad could come from that than good. Like imagine if you sneak up behind your friends and they're like talking about you. Like that would just be so sad and hurtful.
Oh, I know for sure. I feel like the Weasley twins could do a lot of good with an invisibility cloak. Like that'd be hilarious. They're pranksters, so they'd like, do fun stuff with it.
Lighthearted pranks, yeah. But as a whole, I feel like more bad.
It does seem like a dangerous object for sure. And I'm kind of with you. Like a stone that there's almost too much responsibility in something like that. But a wand would be fun. Being able to do like cool spells with a wand that's like never fails and that always wins a fight or something like that. That'd be nice.
What kind of spells would you like to do with your wand?
I don't know. Every spell in this book. How do you know that I don't do these spells on a daily basis?
Well, I've asked before and you've always evaded the question. Sometimes you say, I'm a sorcerer and I'm sworn to secrecy.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, no, I'm a muggle. I don't do wizardry.
Well, we're talking about dragons right now, and dragons.
So you really fluctuate between the two.
Yeah. I can't tell you if I'm a wizard or not. That would break the secrecy laws that we have.
And
that wizards have. Sorry.
One of the premises of this podcast, which is that you bring your friends on to gaslight them. I'm just remembering here. The whole premise of this podcast is gaslighting.
Well, we're talking about even like wizarding, what wizards do, and how the Ministry of Magic hushes things up, because dragons actually do exist in this world, obviously, but the Ministry actually like hushes them up, and they use they say Arlott have to keep putting spells on muggles who have spotted them to make them forget. So the Ministry of Magic is actually putting memory spells on people. Do you ever feel like the Ministry of Magic has put a memory spell on you?
No, but that's the kind of stuff I would not appreciate. I don't want anyone using magic on me. First of all, I do feel that my spirit is much too strong to be influenced by some dark spell. But that furthers my point.
Interesting question. Wait,
previously.
time out. Hold pause on that one because that's a really fascinating one. You think that you can have the self-will to get over spells? Like, do you think if you are strong enough mentally that you wouldn't have a spell be cast on you?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I think that I have a greater power of protection over my spirit.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but
but that actually goes back to a point that I was trying to make previously, which is, to me, why can't muggles and wizards coexist? And as a muggle who would be advocating for that, this is one step backwards. Don't put a spell on me to forget something. If I see your dragon, I may raise a concern or two, but I will let you live peacefully if you let me live peacefully. But don't go trying to manipulate me and put a dirty, dark spell on me. You stay in your lane, I'll stay in mine. So that's the kind of witchery and trickery that I don't need and appreciate as a muggle if we're going to coexist.
Yeah, for sure. There has to be some kind of trust between the two. Agreed.
Yes. Yes, trust. And they're not helping their case by doing spells on other people.
Yeah, agreed. But what about for something like dragons? Because that would cause the muggle world to go wild if they knew dragons existed.
Well, yeah, I feel like there's safety concerns there.
Yeah, for sure.
So if I was the mayor, let's say, of the muggle people, I would want to work with an elected official of the wizard world to come to an agreement.
So this is in Britain.
So
do you think like the prime minister knows that wizards exist? Do you think like the muggle?
I would hope so. Yes.
Prime minister meets with like the minister of magic and they like have a discussion on like, all the.
Well, do you think aliens exist? That's a whole debate right now in the US government.
That's very true. That's very, very true.
Yeah, I would hope.
Okay.
When it's on a need to know basis.
Yeah, for sure. Like only like major things that are going on.
The same way with aliens, I'm sure. I'm kind of joking. I don't know if aliens exist or not. But it's like a need to know basis.
Yeah.
But I would say if you as a wizard want to successfully integrate and coexist with us muggles, let's have our leaders talk. Let's engage in civil dialogue and come to an agreement.
I love the politics that you're engaging in right now with all this. This is
I'm trying
lovely.
to be. No, this is my Enneagram 9 mediator. This is my heart to mediate. I want everyone to coexist, but I want us all to be safe, happy, have our needs met, have our boundaries respected. Yep. So don't go putting spells on me and keep your dragon in your yard. You know what I'm saying?
Don't tell me what I don't need to know, but don't put spells on me at the very least.
Yeah. And don't have your dragon be biting me.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you on that one. I am 100% with you on that one.
Anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
What do you think of, so you actually like the dragon in this a little bit.
Yes, but I also think it was a good thing that they got it to go away.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it was already biting people.
Yeah. Ron's hand was like swollen twice the size of what it was.
Someone was like, the dragon's going to be as big as your house soon. Like, you have to get out of here. Yeah.
I feel like Hagrid would have actually done a decent job of taking care of it, to be honest. But still, it's not a good look.
It's beyond his control, though. It's like, it's a wild animal.
Do you think that dragons are ever going to pop up in these books again?
Yes, I do.
Because I would hope they do. Because if you're interested in dragons, I hope they pop up later so that you can be interested in more of the books.
I think they will, because they've already been mentioned. Something about Romania, or the brother who they send it to is in Romania studying dragons, I think.
Yeah, Charlie Weasley.
There was another mention of a dragon guarding the bank. So back when there's like goblins guarding the bank, there's a dragon guarding the bank. So this is not the first mention of a dragon. This is just the first
sighting of a dragon.
Sighting of a live dragon.
Yeah, for sure.
So yes, I do think they will return to the story.
Okay, good. Glad we answered that one. What what do you think of their plan to get the dragon out and everything that happened for that?
I guess it had to be done. It had to be midnight, so it had to be the late at night so no one else would see.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it had to be the tallest building so it would be the least conspicuous. I don't Yeah. So but someone really fumbled by leaving that note in the book and Malfoy getting a hold of it. So
I know for sure. That
they've made a couple amateur moves here. I have to give it to your cast, to your ensemble.
Well,
strike two.
For sure. They're making amateur moves, but at the same point, they're 11 years old.
Right.
So to pull off a heist like this at 11 years old, even with an invisibility cloak, is actually a pretty impressive thing.
Sure. Yeah.
But that part drives me crazy when Harry, like, if I don't understand it that much. To me, I guess there's part of me that understands it because they're elated that the plan worked. They're like excited that everything happened. And so in the elation of their plan working, they forgot the cloak. But at the same point, Harry doesn't care so much about objects because he was kind of brought up to not have to really care about objects. So he's like not a very material kind of person, but it's the only maybe super valuable thing that he's ever gotten. And he just treats it really flippantly, which kind of drives me crazy. Like, I'm like, if that was me in that case, I would make sure I had that on me. And maybe not at all times, but like, that's the first thing that's going on in my mind. When I'm like hiding this dragon and the dragon goes, I'm like, okay, I need to bring back my invisibility cloak. That's the coolest thing that I own.
So you feel some disappointment in Harry. Would you say it triggers you in a way? Something about Harry's behavior trigger you.
Stop being my therapist. Get out of here.
You feel disappointed in him.
Yeah, a little bummed out, but bummed out in like a good way, because I hate that he forgot this, but I also love that he forgot it because he's valuing things that are greater than objects here. Like, he just gets excited that this plan worked. So he's celebrating with Hermione, who is thrilled about this whole thing. So it's like he's found a friend. To me, it's really, really lovely. In the same vein, when they save Hermione at the end of the previous chapter, and Hermione has this moment where she completely like tells a dumb lie where she's like, I thought I could take the troll on my own. I'm like, why doesn't she tell the truth there? And one of my ideas for that is because Hermione was so lonely, and then that was the one moment when she really truly felt she had friends. So like all brain cells just lifted away from her, and she was like, I have friends, I'm going to tell them whatever here. And she didn't think logically. In the same way, I think this is what Harry's experiencing, where he truly has friends and he's truly happy that a plan worked. Because like what like little kid, when a plan like this works, you're like elated
in that.
Yeah. So he's not thinking logically, and he's just so excited that he's a friend, which I love a whole lot more than him protecting an object. That makes me so happy that he has friends and that he's becoming like a well-rounded person. I love Harry. So don't ever say that I have something against Harry. No,
I don't think I have anything against him. I think you were projecting something onto him, maybe. No, I don't know.
Okay, let's get into that. I'll lay down on the couch and we can talk about
And if you were Harry right now, what would you be feeling?
Anything else in this chapter that you want to touch on?
I don't think so. Let me go to my notes section.
Snape is the number one suspect with Filch.
Yeah. So I can't even really guess what's going to happen. I don't know if the dragon is going to come back into play. So the Sorcerer's Stone is coming more into our vision now. We know what it is. We know that it's hiding. They're hiding it. It's being guarded. We know that there's like a battle over it. I know that Snape is trying to get to it, and everyone else, including Dumbledore, is trying to protect it. I know that they've just ushered this dragon off. So I don't know if he's going to come back in the picture. I know that Hagrid is good and well-meaning, but he can sometimes be a bit of a weak link.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
he can be.
He's a little too aloof.
He can be the kids tricked him into giving the names of like who protected the thing. He had this dragon in his house, which is illegal. So he toes the line. I don't think he's bad, but I could see him being tricked into doing something for the bad side.
Okay.
In the future. So I still don't really know what this big battle is. And I don't know how everyone's going to come into play.
Okay.
When I looked again at the cover of the book, I still see Harry reaching out to grab the stone. But then I looked on the back of the book and it's like a wizard in a cape. Like, I think he's going away, but he's looking backwards. So I don't know who. Maybe that's Dumbledore.
Flip the book real quick. Okay. So he's reaching out to grab something, right?
He's reaching out to grab the Sorcerer's Stone. I feel confident of that.
He's on, what is he riding?
He's on a broomstick.
What else do you catch on a broomstick?
Quidditch. Don't even tell me this is a Quidditch ball. This is the source. Oh, it is gold.
It's a snitch.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I love that your theory was that he's trying to
dream away from me.
That he has to catch the Sorcerer's Stone on a broomstick.
I need to go. I can't be on this podcast anymore.
All right, that's it. I'm done. I got one thing wrong.
Wait, but why?
Because it's just a fun little cover.
Now it's
the cover can't spoil that much.
Well, it's
although the covers do spoil a lot.
Oh, thank you for that. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Well, that's ruined my theory now, hasn't it?
Okay.
Well, we don't know it's a snitch, and we don't know for sure that it's the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah, agreed.
Also, I do have another prediction of a sort. It's a very general prediction.
Okay.
I'm sure that I'm onto something with Ollivander.
Okay.
And here's why. Ollivander is not really a big part of the story yet.
Yeah.
But I noticed when Harry gets his wand, at the end of that chapter, the book says Harry wasn't sure how he felt about him.
Yeah, you mentioned that, which is really a good observation.
But then when I mentioned it, you were like, it says that? And I was like, yeah, it says that. And then initially I took you not knowing that as, oh, it's not going to be relevant. It's not a big deal. But then in that same conversation, you said, no, sometimes I'm not saying it's about this, but sometimes you're going to bring something up as a prediction and it's going to be so good that I'm going to have to pretend like it's not a big deal so you don't catch on to something. So the fact that I caught you off guard by noticing that line about Ollivanders tells me that Ollivanders will somehow come back in the story. I don't know if it's going to be in a big way or not. It could be. It very well could be a big way. But I think that Ollivanders will come back at some point and either be tricked into being on the dark side or be full out on the dark side of his own accord.
We'll see. We shall see. I'm sweating. I'm sweating a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Well, you should be. Now I have to rethink my whole theory based off the cover. Why
no,
is
you
he
don't.
catching a Quidditch ball on the cover?
Why not? Because he caught a snitch in twice in this book.
Yeah, but the title of the book is Sorcerer's Stone. But
why would he have to? Why would he have to catch a Sorcerer's Stone?
Well, that could be part of the great battle. I thought that there was a battle and it was flying through the air at some point and he's going to catch it.
It might be. You might be nailing it.
But now
I might just be deceiving you.
Now you're deceiving me about deceiving me. Now I think that is less likely and I have to rethink my guess. I don't know where we're headed. I don't know what's going to happen in these next 3 chapters.
Yeah, which is an exciting thing. It keeps you on the edge. Are you excited to read the last 3 chapters?
Yeah, but I'm also kind of worried, like, what if it's like really anticlimactic? Like, it's not really building up to this like big, huge, like, I don't really know where we're headed. And so I'm afraid I'm gonna end the book and just be like, huh.
And I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna keep saying this for the first 2 books, which feels a little icky.
1 and 2, and then 3 really takes off.
1 and 2 is like a little bit of a buildup, but yeah, I think you'll finish these and I think you'll like them. They'll be like cute to you, but I don't think you're going to be super hooked until we get like the third one. And the third and the fourth one is really where the world builds and like books build on top of each other a lot more. And it gets really good at those books. So we'll see.
Okay. Believe you.
Any last little comments for this chapter before we go on to the last questions?
No, that's it.
All right. Excellent. So someone even just commented, I'm going to show you some of the illustrations. I'm going to text you some of the illustrations, or maybe like next podcast. Actually, when we finish this whole thing, I'm going to show you some of the illustrations. So next podcast, when we finish the books, there's a guy named Jim Kay, and he does illustrated versions of Harry Potter. And they're some of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in the Harry Potter universe. Because people talk about the movies and like I have issues with some of the movies and how they depict certain things. But the guy who illustrated it, I feel like he illustrated everything perfectly, exactly how the fans viewed it. So I'm going to show you some of that stuff, which is like really, really, to me, really enjoyable. And I think it'll give you better visuals for some of the stuff that we're talking about.
Okay.
All right. But give me we'll do the top three. Who is your favorite character in this? What's your favorite moment that happened in these 3 chapters? And who's the hot tamale, if there's a hot tamale?
Hot tamale. Favorite moment is Harry and Ron hanging out over Christmas break, like playing chess and just hanging around Hogwarts. I really like that.
Yeah, that is a really beautiful moment. It's like I love those quiet moments where not a ton happens with plot, but they're just like quaint and lovely little moments. Mm-hmm. That's probably my favorite moment too. I'm going to be honest. Although I will say,
you can't pick the same one.
Okay,
you have to
fine. I pick Quidditch. All right. When Harry catches this first snitch in his mouth, I'm like, that is an all-time first game. That's going to go back down in the history books of Quidditch in Hogwarts history. I love athletic achievements and feats like that, so I'm going to say that's my favorite moment.
Okay.
And he catches the snitch really fast in that one. That's like Harry is an elite receiver in the Quidditch League.
Yeah. Well, if I could just harken back to my first point, when he became like a star player right away, to me it felt a little far-fetched. And him starting the first game and having this great win in the first game, it just is continuing that far. I just feel like it's far-fetched for this character, but I'll go with it. But it just doesn't seem like he's had no hiccups at all. Like,
yeah, I know. It is, to me, it's a little far-fetched as well. Like no kid that young would be that good at athletic stuff. So I'm with you on that. Good, yeah. But yeah, he's a little too good. So, okay, who is your favorite character, or who's your hot tamale, if there's a hot tamale?
The dragon.
What a perfect award for that. The hot tamale. Can I steal that one too? I'm gonna go the hot tamale.
You have
all right, fine. Then Hagrid's my hot tamale, the mother of the dragons. Hagrid is like Khaleesi, and right, that's her name in Game of Thrones, and comes out wielding dragons. It's like Hagrid right there.
You know, I've never seen Game of Thrones. I've heard that I have heard that I wouldn't like the violence.
Yeah, it's really violent. It's a little intense in the first few seasons. I didn't love it. I didn't think it was exceptional, but people say the books are really good too. So maybe that'll be season 2 for me and you. We'll get into nerd stuff there.
Yeah. Well, so to me, hot tamale and favorite character can overlap. It can be interchangeable.
Yeah, for sure. Is the dragon?
Is the dragon?
Come on.
My favorite character in the first half of the book is the cat, and
this is absurd.
Favorite character, but I'm being serious. And my favorite in the second half is the dragon.
All right, so you are going with animals rather than people, rather than actual characters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say my favorite is Hermione for just being like a good friend. These are the chapters where she becomes more of like an actual friend to them. And I love how good of a friend she is. I love how resourceful she is and how brilliant she is and how she is like the brains for this whole group. So she's my House Cup winner. She's my favorite character.
I would like to give her an honorable mention.
No.
We could give an honorable mention.
You can't steal mine. Yep. I can't steal yours.
You gave her as your favorite. I gave her as my honorable mention. If you'd like to give an honorable mention, you may as well.
I'll give the honorable mention to the dragon. What's the dragon's name?
Norbert or something like that.
Norbert, yeah.
Norby. Ron's mother also gets an honorable mention for sending him a Christmas gift.
For knitting the sweaters. It's like the greatest gift that you can get.
Him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just including him.
100%. That's a great mom move right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, any last comments?
Hey. No, but the end better be good. And if not, you will hear about it. I want to read it live just so I can give my off the cuff reaction.
Do you actually want to do that?
No, it's way too much pressure.
No, there wouldn't be any pressure on that at all. It would just be like us.
In my head, there would be pressure. I would crumble and die and I would lose all function of my brain.
Okay, we're going to talk about that after because I think that would be a really fun idea. I think you'd be great at it. So I'm going to try to convince you of that. I'm going to put a spell on you to try to convince you. So if we're actually doing a live read later, you know that I put a spell on you to try to convince you of doing a live read in these chapters. That's why.
No, if we do a live read, it's because I came to that decision of my own.
Yeah, 100% agreed. 100%. Everything that you're doing here is of your own free accord. So.
Not good one.
Well, thanks for joining us on this journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Everyone wants us to do a live read.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you to my my Animal Crossing friend.
Yeah, your one friend who listens to Animal Crossing. That's it. Yes, just you and one other friend.
And I hope that person gives others the courage to step forward and say they are also Animal Crossing fans.
To tell their stories about Animal Crossing.